Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, I'm going to discuss why disaster falls upon the prophets and friends of God and religious people, and how they have to cope with disaster and undergo trials and calamities, and what can be the possible outcome after forbearance. The prophet is reported to have said that disaster fell upon the prophets and the friends of God and the religious people like them. And the prophet insisted on the fact that this is the way that God tests people in order to use them to teach others and guide them on the straight path. In Surah Al-Baqarah verse 155, God says, "We shall certainly test you with loss of properties and crops and lives, and give glad tidings to those who are steadfast, and when they are facing calamities, say, to God we belong and to God we shall return," that they will be rewarded. And even in normal life, we know that you cannot achieve something meaningful without undergoing certain forms of difficulties. So it is normal that the prophets of God and people of God will undergo a lot of difficulties. Prophets of God were driven out of cities, were rejected from their own people, were really never accepted from the elite and the powerful of some of the societies where they were sent. And this is because people who bring the true message of God are never welcomed directly with open hands. It is through the way they undergo the trials that those with wisdom will accept their message and say that indeed there is probably something that we cannot explain in the way that these people are insisting on their message, and they will see the truth and the light of God in their behavior after they have undergone a lot of trials and calamities and have persevered in it. And one of the very clear stories that you can use to understand how God can put a prophet in trials is the story of Ayub, Job in the Bible. God tested Ayub. Ayub was endowed with wealth and health and cattle and a big family and every kind of riches that everyone could dream of. And Ayub was never arrogant. He did not belong to those who will arrogantly run in their community and tell the people that they are gifted because God liked them more than others and so on. But Ayub was using all what he has been given to in the way of God. But even though God tried it, the story is very important, because when Satan went to tell the Almighty that Ayub is only worshipping and glorifying him because of all what he had, then God Almighty tried Ayub, and Ayub lost all of his wealth but still continued to worship his Lord. He lost his family, children, crops, cattle, everything, but he still continued to worship his Lord. And at the end, he was so sick that even his friends gave up on him and came and was telling him that it is not believable what he's going through, but still he never gave up the hope of his Lord. And Ayub still continued worshiping his Lord and went through several other kinds of trials, but still he never gave up. And he was really thankful for the fact that before that he has enjoyed the pleasure of riches and all what God can give to some of his slaves that he really likes. And this is why Ayub will persevere and be patient in trials, so much so that at the end he will recover all of the things that he had. But the trials went during a long period of time. It is said that the trials should have been at least 7 years or even 18 years, according to certain versions. So you can read the story in the Bible or in the Quran, so it's the same story. And this is the story that can help you to understand that without patience there is no faith. Men of faith are men of patience, because even as you know that without patience you cannot achieve anything meaningful in this life, without patience you cannot come close to God. God puts you in trials in order to get you closer to Him, and the more you can forbear and be patient and undergo the trials without giving up, without doing what is forbidden, the more you will come close to God. The more you go through trials without complaining, the more you are coming close to your Lord. And when you start complaining and give up, then you are getting away from God. So you cannot just say that you are a believer without being tested. It is in Christianity or Islam, it's the same principle that you have to go through trials in order to gain faith, and you cannot have faith if you have not been tested enough. So for those who really want to understand how it works, it is that you have examples with your own life, like a